guys, so last week I announced my 2024 Read Your Bookshelf challenge, and what I want to do for 2024 is the month before the next prompt date give you guys some recommendations of books that could fulfill either side of the chart. So if you don't know what I'm talking about and you haven't watched my Read Your Bookshelf challenge announcement video, head over there, do that first, because this year I'm making things a little bit more complicated by going kind of choose your own adventure, slightly flowchart style. And so for the first month, the prompt is to read either a book with a dog on the cover if you want to go the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle side, or if you want to go with Lucy Maud Montgomery, read a book with a cat on the cover. And I'm okay if you bend the rules a little bit and a dog is like a wolf or a fox, or the cat is like a lion or a tiger. However you need to make it work. This was actually kind of harder than I expected. Going through my red shelves, which I keep upstairs, most of the books I pulled for my recommendations are middle grade books. Apparently it's very common in middle grade books to have a dog or a cat, but less common otherwise. So let's start with, we'll start with the dog side. I don't know which side I'm going to do yet. So after I share a few recommendations, I'm going to show you guys a few options that I have for myself. And then maybe you guys can help me and I can have it figured out before I film my January TBR. Okay, so the very first book I'm going to share for Sir Arthur Conan Doyle side, a dog-ish book, is Lone Wolf, because this one was written by my daughter in the spring when she was 12 years old. It's a novella, it's very short, and this is about a 12-year-old boy in foster care when he goes to a new home. I won't say anything more because it's a short little book, but one of my patrons just made my daughter's day a couple weekends ago when we had our Patreon book club, because she mentioned it as one of her favorite books of the month, and my daughter was just over the moon. So this is one of my recommendations. Chantel from the future popping in, because one of the things I wanted to do for Vlogmas was do some giveaways, and I realized this video is a great one to do a giveaway for, because one of the things I wanted to give away was a copy of my daughter's book, Lone Wolf. And so, like I just said, it's about a 12-year-old boy in foster care. If you guys want to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment below and use the word wolf in your comment, and then that way I can do the giveaway draw that way. I will be doing the draw on the 9th, so you have until then to enter. Like I said, just leave a comment with the word wolf in the comment and you will be entered. I mean, the prompt is based off of Hound of Baskervilles, The Hound of Baskervilles, so you could read this short story by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle as well. Personally, I love his actual short stories. I'm not a huge fan of the longer stories, but this one would be an option. I should also say something like The Hound of Baskervilles has a million different covers. If you are reading it from a cover that doesn't have a dog on it, but you know there is a cover or a different edition that has a dog or a cat, go ahead and use that. It's a pretty flexible challenge. Okay, so I saw this book on my shelf and I was like, I actually don't remember why. I think this is a dog on the cover. I don't remember what it has to do with the book at all, but I like this book. So The Thursday Murder Club. I'm pretty sure, you guys, that's a dog. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember how that fits into the story. I just barely read book 4. So I've been reading them, but I forget. This is a group of retirees that come across a murder and therefore form a club. And every week they meet together and try to solve the murder. And it just keeps happening. They've come across murders that's funny, but also deep, and I highly recommend the audiobook. A YA alternate history science fiction type story that I really enjoyed was the recommendation of one of my patrons is Wolf by Wolf. Here we've got a wolf in the shadow, and this is if Hitler won World War II and reigned over this huge area spanning from Japan to Europe there, and this is a race that starts, I think it might start in Germany, I can't remember exactly, and it goes all the way across Asia, and our main character goes into this race, and she is a shapeshifter as a result of some experiments that were done on her during World War II, and it's a duology. I would recommend both of the books in the series. Another dog on the cover, it's a fox. Shady Hollow. This is a cozy mystery that when all the characters are animals, which is not generally my thing, but I really did enjoy it in this book. This is, I think, a trilogy. I don't know if there's going to be more. And I can't remember if I've read more. I've read a short story, a Christmas one. I think that's it. But I enjoyed this one. Now onto the middle grade books. I'm going to kind of breeze through these. Little Dog Lost. This is one of my favorite free verse novels. It's about a little dog that's lost and a boy who wants a dog. And it's amazing like how short it is because it's free verse. It's amazing how emotional I got reading this. Another free verse one that is also about a dog is Love That Dog. This one is super small, very fast read. And it's all about this boy in school learning poetry, and he loves his dog. Then we have Island of the Blue Dolphins. Honestly, this was not one of my favorites. I almost didn't put it on this list, but my daughter really liked it a few years ago, so I thought I would include it. It's got a wolf on the cover. This is middle grade historical fiction. Okay, normally I don't like books that are from the viewpoint of an animal. This is an exception, and that is Pax by Sarah Pennypacker. And Pax is a fox who is a pet, and then he gets released, and it's all about his story. Also made me very emotional. This one has at least another book in the series that I have not read yet. And another, there's a lot of free verse ones on here, is Alone. And this is a middle grade science fiction story where this girl wakes up one morning and the people in her town have all disappeared. So there's that. That was my dog section. Now for the cat books, I have We Have Always Lived in a Castle by Shirley Jackson. There's definitely a theme with like cat silhouettes. You'll see that. This is like a kind of a classic, and it is like gothic fiction. Really enjoyed it. My favorite Ella Montgomery thus far, I think, is The Story Girl, and there's a bunch of different editions. I own a number of them, and this one happens to have a cat, so I needed to feature it on here. And then we have The Lion of Mars, once again a silhouette of a cat. This is a middle grade science fiction story where these people live on Mars. And then I have two books that are like companion novels to two of the dog books. So we've got Little Cat's Luck. This is a companion novel to Little Dog Lost, and this is about a cat that gets out one day and she's not used to being outside and she gets lost. A really sweet little story. Chokes me up as well. And then in contrast to Love That Dog, we have Hate That Cat, which I feel a little offended by, but it's also a really good book. And then we have Crenshaw. This is a middle grade story about a boy whose family has just become homeless and start living in a minivan, and he has this imaginary friend, Crenshaw, who is a giant cat. Then I have The Gilded Girl. This is a middle grade fantasy story. It is the story of a little princess, but retold and has some fantasy elements. There is a cat here on the cover. And then this is a bit of a stretch because I wanted to include Premeditated Myrtle because there is a cat that is a big portion of the story, but none of the covers have a cat on them, but there is one on the spine, so I'm counting it, plus on the back. This is a middle grade Victorian mystery series that I've enjoyed. The audiobook is really great, and I love the footnotes. Recommend this series for sure. Okay, so those are some recommendations for you. From what I could see from my shelves, I only had 2 cat books that I have not read, and I think it's 3 dog books. So we'll start with the cat books. One of them I mentioned in the announcement video. This is The Tarnished Garden. So like The Gilded Girl, this is a middle grade fantasy story that has taken The Secret Garden and retold it. So I'm very curious about that. I love these covers. And then I have James Herriot's Cat Stories, which is all just short stories about cats. So I think there's a lot of cat illustrations throughout the book. I think every chapter is about a different cat. Yes, and then my 3 dog stories. So in the announcement video, I mentioned Where the Red Fern Grows. I don't think I'm going to read this one. I think I'm going to continue to avoid this book, but maybe I'll pick it up. I want to hear your guys' opinion on which of these books I should read, which side I should go on here. Then I've had this middle grade book for a very, very long time. The Great Shelby Holmes. This is a middle grade like Sherlock-esque story, and there's a dog involved. So I'm very curious about this one. And then this one is on my winter TBR, and it is A Wolf Called Wander. So this one is from the viewpoint of a dog, and I hear that it might be, yeah, it's based on a true story of a wolf named OR7, often called Journey. So I've heard good things, but you guys let me know out of my options here which of these I should pick up. And I would love to hear if you guys plan on going the cat route or dog route for January, if you have that figured out already. Thanks for hanging out with me again, and I will be back again tomorrow.